Cost down from the get-go. Cost down from the get-go. Strip out non-essentials. Strip out non-essentials. Engineered for minimum cost. Engineered for minimum cost. Lean inventory model. Lean inventory model. Resilient and focused. Resilient and focused.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome everyone. We're doing a deep dive today into some sources about a pretty surprising company. We're focusing on Daiso, the Korean discount store, often just seen as like a cheap store.
Right, that's the common perception. But the numbers, the actual financials we're seeing in these reports, they tell a very different story. A surprisingly strong one.
Exactly. That's the puzzle, isn't it? How does a business that sells so much stuff for around 1,000 Korean won, what's that, like 75 US cents?
About that, yeah.
How do they hit reported sales near 4 trillion? And this is the kicker. Keep an operating margin of 9.4%.
9.4. It's way higher than a lot of standard retailers.
Yeah.
So that's our mission here, right? To dig into these sources and figure out how they actually make that kind of profit on such low prices.
Okay, so where do we start? The sources seem to point towards cost.
Absolutely. It seems to boil down to this relentless focus on controlling costs, like everywhere, across the whole chain. But it starts somewhere unusual.
Not where you typically think, like with the supplier, right at the very beginning.
Exactly. Most places figure out production costs, add their profit, then set the price. Daiso flips it.
Flips it out.
They decide the price first, usually that 1,001. Then they go find manufacturers, often globally, who can actually make the product for that target cost. They use huge order volumes as leverage.
So the price dictates the sourcing, not the other way around. That forces costs down from the get-go.
Precisely. And the sources mention they strip out non-essentials, too. Minimal branding, simple packaging. Stuff like that.
Right. You're buying the function, not a fancy box or a big brand name.
And a huge saving comes from advertising, or rather, the lack of it. The reports suggest they spend, maybe 0.1% of their revenue on ads.
0.1%. While competitors might be spending 2-3%?
Easily. Think about that saving when your revenue is in the billions. It's massive. It goes straight to that operating margin.
Wow. Okay, so billions saved just by avoiding big marketing campaigns. They get the products made cheap. How do they get them onto shelves cheaply? Logistics must be tricky.
Yeah, another area they've really optimized. Heavy investment in automation, their own delivery systems. It's all about efficiency at scale.
Moving tons of low-cost items without spending a fortune doing it.
Right. Volume and predictability over, say, super fast delivery. Their logistics costs are apparently well below average for that kind of volume.
Okay, makes sense. And stores themselves. Rent is a killer cost. What's their strategy there, according to the reports?
Smart again. They tend to go for fixed monthly rent leases. Avoid those variable deals based on revenue.
So predictability again. Landlords probably like that stability, too.
Seems so. And they keep the store setup costs low. So their overall store expenses are just lower and more stable than many others. It all adds up.
It really sounds like every single step is engineered for minimum cost. What about the actual products in the store? Inventory.
That helps too. A lot of their stuff is, practical household goods.
Yeah.
Things that don't expire or go out of fashion quickly.
Repairable goods.
Yeah. So they have much less waste from markdowns or expired stock. It's a lean inventory model.
So you put it all together, the price for sourcing, the tiny ad spend, the efficient logistics, the fixed rent stores, the stable inventory. You can see how they build that 9.4% margin, bit by bit.
Exactly. It's a system.
So the takeaway isn't cheap store. It's more like incredibly efficient value machine, solid operations, making money even when the economy's shaky because they just nail delivering value.
That really sums it up. And you see why that resonates now, right?
Oh.
When everyone's watching their spending, this model of pure utility and efficiency just works.
Yeah, it brings it back to you, the listener, understanding how a company like Daiso pulls this off. It's a powerful lesson in strategy, even if you're just thinking about value in your own spending.
It really demonstrates that success in retail doesn't always have to be about being the fanciest. Sometimes it's about mastering the basics, the utility, in the most cost-effective way.
So the final thought then. given how resilient and focused they are, you have to wonder, how might this super efficient Daiso model start to influence retail more broadly, maybe even globally?
Yeah. And what does their expansion mean for what we as consumers start expecting from the places we shop everywhere? Something to think about.